They are the words every loved one dreads to hear. There's been an accident. We're at the hospital. Just the thought of the intensive care unit or emergency surgery sends a shiver down one's spine. Now, imagine the horror of being admitted to a haunted hospital once run by nuns, who, rumor has it, didn't believe in pain medication. When this paranormal team goes in to investigate, they never imagined they would be subjected to sheer terror and actual physical pain inflicted by entities from the other side.
There's a scratch on your back. Where? All over.
Yorktown, a small town in the southeast of Texas. In the fall of 2017, a paranormal team got permission to investigate the Yorktown Memorial Hospital, long believed to be haunted by angry spirits.
This now completely abandoned hospital that was built in the 1950s is ours for the night.
But they had no idea what they were getting themselves into.
My name is Colin Brown.
I'm Peyton McWhorter.
For years, we've been hearing about the Yorktown Memorial Hospital because it's supposedly one of the most haunted buildings in the entire state of Texas. When you approach the Yorktown Memorial Hospital, there are no streetlights, so it's this ominous black, just kind of pillar of darkness sitting there. But it's really, really dilapidated looking. You've got the windows that are busted out. So when you get there and you walk up, it's an indescribable feeling of pure dread because you know that there's something there inside the hospital.
We talked to the owner, got the keys to the front door, and we have the entire complex to ourselves. Here we go. Let's do it.
You walk in, everything around it is totally decayed. The walls are peeling, the ceilings are falling down, and then there's a piano.
Wow.
A reception desk. There's all of the stuff that would have still been in there. Oh my God.
Oh my God, look at that thing. Holy.
But to me, the creepiest part is down the long hallway right when you walk in is the chapel.
Here we go.
And there's all of the pews in there. There's the old stand with an old Bible on it. It's just otherworldly.
The Yorktown Hospital, built in 1950, 30,000 square feet. It was run by Catholic nuns.
The nuns in running this hospital were anti-pain medication. They wanted to use as little pain abatement as possible. So on top of just the normal, everyday horror and trauma of being hospitalized or having a terrible disease or needing surgery, we have this added element of you are intentionally being denied what science could give you as a reprieve.
So anytime that those emotions can be imprinted on someplace, I feel like the chances of it being haunted just go through the roof.
To everybody that's in this hospital, we do not want harm from you. We do not want to harm you. We just would like to talk.
As he makes his way through the hospital, Colin begins to have a visceral reaction to his surroundings.
Every time I get this weird ringing in my ear, I can't even hear out of my right ear right now.
A lot of times when we investigate, I will get this ringing in my ears, and it doesn't happen in my day-to-day life ever, but I'll get this ring right before something extreme is about to happen.
That happens to me all the time. It's one of the most overlooked things on an investigation. People don't really rely on their body as a tool.
Ringing in the ears is sort of akin to the cold spots that people will feel. You walk into a room and there's a drop in temperature. You walk through a space and suddenly your ears are reacting to something that's not obvious around you as what could be making that noise.
Colin's instincts are spot on. Something extreme is about to happen.
To the nuns of the Yorktown Memorial Hospital, or anyone who died here, my name is Colin Brown. Quiet, bro, quiet, bro, quiet. Stop, guys.
All of a sudden, the door behind us creaked and slammed shut. and all of us freaked out.
But the door's opening! You see the door? That door just opened by itself. My arm is cold as right now. Are you behind that door? Dude, Maxon. Bro, I have goosebumps. Look at my arm right now.
One of the common tropes in paranormal investigations are things like doors opening and closing. And that's a way to get your attention to say, hey, over here or through here, you're missing something or you're not paying attention. And sometimes it's just a good old-fashioned scare.
There's no doubt about it. Yorktown Memorial Hospital is haunted, and Colin's experience is about to get a lot scarier.
Y'all want to go check up the upstairs, please?
Yeah. I'll go with you.
As Colin is walking up to the second story, he suddenly feels something.
Yo, can you do me a favor, bro? My back is kind of burning or like itching. I don't want to touch it.
When we're up there, I just start feeling this burning. It just started to sting.
Uh-oh. There's a scratch on your back. Looks like he scratched your back, though.
Where?
All over.
Where?
Like literally all over your back.
It's just a wild moment because I hadn't seen it, he hadn't seen it, and it's just, you pull it up and it bang, it's there, this huge bloody scratch.
This is one of the biggest and deepest scratches I've ever seen in a paranormal investigation. So something strange is going on here.
It's bleeding?
It's bleeding, dude.
Kidding me?
No, it's coming through your shirt.
No way.
Looks like
It's getting darker as we're talking, man. Look at it.
It's obvious from the scratch that Colin is not welcome here. But why is the entity specifically targeting him? It turns out Colin is one of the only members of the team with tattoos.
If you know anything about nuns and religious type folks, they're very against doing anything like body modifications, like tattoos and things like that. So apparently, other people that have had tattoos that have gone into this hospital have been attacked, scratched, or touched in whatever way.
My tattoos are like right there. They're just out there. I've got tattoos on my arms, legs, fingers. So yeah, I can understand why the nuns potentially could have been a little angry at the tattoo choices that I made, but you never know.
I went to Catholic school, so I will tell you, you don't anger a nun. If you anger a nun, you're going to get physically hurt. And that is what happened to this person, as we see with the entity having enough strength to actually scratch him on his body.
After the scratch, I definitely felt a little freaked out. It definitely left me with an anxiety the rest of the night, just thinking, if this is possible, if this just happened to me, what's the next big thing that could happen, and how far can this energy push what it can do?
All of us that are in this group would just like to say to whoever's in here, please do not follow us. You scratched me, stay here. You're not welcome into any of our lives. You have to stay here, and I'm sorry.
After everything that we went through that night, we can definitively say that this is one of the most haunted buildings in Texas, and for sure, one of the most haunted buildings in the entire United States of America.
When it comes to sheer bravery and nerves of steel, few come close to the men and women of the U.S. military. Through their training and active service in some of the most intense theaters in the world, they've pretty much seen and experienced it all. So what kind of threat would make a military man flee his home in an instant? A ghostly intruder, of course. One afternoon, Jerry Bruce was filming his baby at home, banging on some pots and pans, when suddenly...
My name is Jerry Bruce. Me and my son were just playing around in the floor. All of a sudden, the door swings open. There's a little push toy that's outside of the closet, and it flips over. It scares me, scares the baby. was here by myself with the baby at the time, and I picked up my son and we went out the front door. And I waited for my wife to get home because I was kind of worried.
But how did Jerry, a grown man, get so easily spooked by this paranormal event? After all, he appears to be a tough guy with an even tougher job.
I am a weapons specialist. We work for the United States Army, of course, the Department of the Army, and we work every weapon systems that the military has, from heavy mobile equipment, M1 tanks, to the M4 rifle, small arms fire. I travel all over the world. I've been all over the place, so it's a demanding job, and it's stressful on the family sometimes.
But it turns out Jerry had never faced an invisible entity before, and it freaked him to the core.
I told my wife I was moving as soon as possible. I said, we need to get out of here as soon as possible.
If you've never encountered a ghost, I think the first time you do, you get pretty freaked out because you cannot explain what's going on.
That's it. I'm sold. All-time favorite proof of the supernatural is that video. It is too perfect. The kid turning around is so natural. The way the door opens, the thing falls over, and the parents' reaction. You know, phone's obviously no longer their consideration. They've, grabbed the kid and ran. That's awesome.
What's interesting about this scene is this man is filming something extremely innocent. His child is just playing, and then he accidentally captures a ghost.
The force at which this whatever entity it might be comes out of that closet and then propels this toy around the room like that. That's a lot of force.
It actually flipped from its base. If it had fallen the other way, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, because you might think, well, maybe the handle is the heavy side, but this actually flipped forward from the heavy side over.
But what was this entity, whatever it was, doing in Jerry's house in the first place? It may have something to do with his wife.
My wife actually grew up in a house that she says was haunted by her grandfather. She would actually hear people working in the house, hammering, doing stuff like that. She'd walk into the kitchen, cabinet doors would be open in the kitchen. Doors would close in the house on their own. So she was used to it.
Here we have a possible example of a familial connection. Loved ones who have passed on, maybe they never met, but they are still connected. They're still bonded. So if the grandfather wanted to drop in and see how the family's doing, see how his grandchild is doing, this incident where the door opens and the toy flips over might not be negative. Could be, oh, there's Grandpa again.
Jerry was convinced. His wife's explanation was enough to allay his fears and his urge to move out. Since then, things have quieted down in the house.
Once you kind of just ignore it and let it go away, it just kind of smooths out. But if you keep paying attention to it and bringing it forth, it's going to continue, it seems like.
Once you reach a place of acceptance and you lose the fear about that initial, what's happening, what's going on, it's just everyday life. We deal with so many things in our days that are unseen, but we just accept, and spirits are one of them.
Imagine driving down a pitch-black, deserted highway in the middle of nowhere, with no other cars in sight. Your eyes fixated on the endless center line, when suddenly, a figure appears to be crossing the road, and then a second one. Are they human or supernatural? You be the judge. Throughout the world, there have been reports of paranormal beings haunting stretches of road for centuries. In England, ghostly pedestrians have been spotted along Devil's Highway. In Kenya, spectral women in white gowns have flagged down unsuspecting truckers on the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. And in India, there have been reports of boots, otherwise known as ghosts, wandering on National Highway 33 in Ranchi, Jamshedpur, which may have been the first thing that came to the minds of two men driving down a dark road in Delhi, when they suddenly see this in the glare of their headlights.
This was a truly eerie clip. Neither one of them seemed to have the posture and just the demeanor of what two living people would have.
You can't tell if they're spirit or if they're a creature.
And the way they reflected the light so solidly didn't make it seem like they were just people wearing normal clothing.
I'm baffled at the moment.
Unable to think of what else to do, the men flashed their high beams at the disturbing figures in an attempt to drive them away.
I found myself wondering, why do they keep turning on and off the brights? Obviously to light these creatures up and then to bring it back. But that's actually one of the most common tropes of contemporary legend tripping, is when you go to a haunted site, flashing your brights at whatever the object of your interest is one of the most common ritual practices.
But once the men in the car realize the walking dead, or whatever they are not going anywhere, they have one thought in mind. Leave. Now.
You know, they're blocking the road knowing that any normal human being will stop because they don't want to hit a person.
They weren't even acknowledging that something else was there, so it was either unfettered by it, unthreatened, or unaware.
चल बाबा चलती रहन दे कांच मार लो चढ़ा बाबा तुरंत अबे चढ़ा जल्दी चढ़ा.
It does certainly seem like an off-putting kind of a situation where you might want to back up instead of going forward.
But as the driver puts the car into reverse, things suddenly intensify. When the figures appear to rush toward the car.
If the cars were moving back, whatever speed it was, the figures would have to be matching or going a little bit faster in order to look like that they were gaining on the car. So whatever it was these guys came across on that road, I believe noticed that they were there.
The men finally gather their wits, turn their vehicle around, and get out of Dodge.
It's so mind-boggling, really. There's no logical explanation that I can think of.
They're definitely unsettled by what they saw in the middle of the road, so the fear is there.
There are few things more tragic in this world than a child's life cut short. One can only imagine the stores of residual childlike energy in cemeteries around the world, pleading for the chance to express themselves in any way possible. Fortunately for the children buried in Maple Hill Cemetery in Huntsville, Alabama, there's a solution. A playground adjacent to the cemetery that they apparently use quite often. In Maple Hill Park, located in Huntsville, Alabama, there's a playground that has a reputation for being haunted. And it's no wonder, as the playground is next to one of the oldest and most famous cemeteries in Alabama, Maple Hill Cemetery, which has more than its fair share of children buried there.
This was a cemetery that dates back to a time when childhood diseases, epidemics were common. You know, you had scarlet fever and smallpox and rheumatic fever, all kinds of things that could have ended the lives of multiple children in the area before their time.
But wait, it gets even darker.
Aside from the graveyard being there, the other legend is that a killer was murdering children in that area in the early 60s and dumping their bodies in what at the time was an abandoned quarry. And that abandoned quarry is now where the playground is located.
In fact, so many children were laid to rest in the cemetery that when the playground was built next door, the locals unofficially and grimly nicknamed it the Dead Children's Playground, perhaps as a kind of invitation to the children of the cemetery.
The thing with dead children is that they don't really have a sense of spirituality. They don't have a sense of religion or heaven or hell or the afterlife. They linger around. They're lost. I find that children haunts are more powerful for that reason because they don't know what to do with their consciousness after their body is gone.
Imagine having a park with the name Dead Children's Playground. I mean, that's going to attract tourists all year long.
And attract them, it did. In September 2017, Ronnie Sism and his daughter Rylan from Gritly Logger, Tennessee, decided to stop by the Dead Children's Playground after a day of sightseeing and shopping to see if there was any truth to the rumors.
I love ghost stories and all of that, so I kind of researched the area and heard that there was this playground in the middle of the cemetery, so I thought, wow, how cool is this?
But as dusk approached, Ronnie started to get an eerie feeling.
It's kind of hard to describe. The playground itself is very creepy if you go there. There's a rock wall surrounding it. It's very cut off from the rest of the city. The cemetery is in front of the playground, and it's to say that I didn't want to be there after dark.
But Rylan wanted to swing. And as she was, because of the playground's haunted reputation, Ronnie jokingly pushed the empty swings next to her. It quickly became clear that it was no joking matter.
It was a gentle push, but like in this video, these swings kept going and moving faster and faster. And even when I looked at the swings while we were there, it looked like there was weight in the swings. Like how those rubber swings bend, it was like there was weight there.
I watched it pretty careful. A couple of the swings weren't getting lower. They were staying in the same height, which, physics will tell you that's not possible.
The baby swings were moving slower, and it seemed like the one swing to the right of my daughter, it seemed to be picking up speed and moving faster.
Perhaps even more revealing, 7-year-old Rylan seemed to be chatting with someone while swinging.
She felt like there was other kids. She doesn't believe that they wanted to do her harm. They just wanted to play with her because they were lonely, and she was a kid.
If they're earthbound spirit and maybe they died as children and just stayed here in this state, maybe they don't even know they're dead.
Ronnie said the swinging continued for at least 10 minutes, far longer than any amount of natural momentum would last.
Once we left, like we're in the car fixing to back out of the parking lot, we look down, the swings are still going. Her swing had stopped. The other swings were still going.
And this phantom swinging is not an isolated incident. The following year, one local resident took his 2 sons to the Dead Children's Playground in the middle of the day and saw this.
I was standing here and this just started. My name is David Bergeson. I was there with my boys, and they were playing in the playground. We took a break to look at the rocks and happened to look back at the swing, and it was swinging. So I pulled out my phone and recorded that. I was standing here and this just started. My boys, one was probably about 20 feet away. The other was up on the hill, and they were not even near the swings.
What happened next put David even more on edge.
Oh my gosh. Felt something on my neck, and I dipped the phone down so I could swat the back of my neck, and I looked behind me. I didn't see anything. I mean, it felt like, I don't know, like a hand or something cold go across the back of my neck.
Oh my gosh. Deeply unsettled, David and the boys left soon after. Though we may never know who or what was there that day, one thing is clear. Something is very much alive at the dead children's playground.
Oh my gosh.
The Eloise Psychiatric Hospital, located just outside Detroit, is a notorious institution with a long, horrifying history of patient abuse and neglect. It is rumored that those unlucky enough to be admitted were subjected to straitjackets, shackles, and even lobotomies. Fortunately, the mental asylum stopped receiving patients in 1977. Unfortunately, more than 7,000 former residents of the Eloise Hospital and Infirmary are buried on the grounds, making it no surprise that it's earned a reputation for being one of the most haunted and feared places in Michigan. The now empty buildings attract paranormal investigators from around the country, including one group whose experience at the asylum was truly terrifying.
It's Eloise Psychiatric Hospital. We'll be conducting an investigation here.
In August 2018, the Detroit Paranormal Expeditions team conducted an overnight investigation in one of the buildings at the Eloise Psychiatric Hospital. They set up cameras on the 3rd floor, which some believe to be the most haunted area. Around 1:40 a.m., the team members left the building. All except for one. A few minutes later, Todd Bonner suddenly got the feeling he was not truly alone when he heard these footsteps.
Hello? Hello? My name is Todd Bonner, and I'm with Detroit Paranormal Expeditions. I heard footsteps behind me, and I turned around, I shot my flashlight, and I could just feel like this energy coming towards me.
I'm probably gonna take off because there's something behind me, and I'm not really sure what it is, so...
And I felt I should leave, so I kind of ran out of there.
Todd exited the building and joined the others, who were monitoring the action from outside. The cameras inside continued to roll, when suddenly, more activity. First, an orb flies by one of the cameras, followed by loud sounds recorded throughout the building.
You hear the shower curtains going in the patient showers, you hear cabinets opening and closing, you hear doors closing, and there is nobody in that building. And it's a good, I would say 5 minutes on that you can hear that stuff happening.
When you're looking to legitimize any claim of paranormal activity, you're looking for overlapping elements. In this case, something's flying by the screen. There are sounds. There are things that clearly weren't them, so this could be proof that something happened or was about to happen.
Todd and a few of his team members decide to re-enter the building to investigate. They searched the entire premises, but nothing.
There was no one there, so we kind of stayed maybe another half hour, then we called it a night.
But that was not the end of their investigation. A few months later, encouraged by their first visit,
Hey everyone, we are in Eloise.
The team returns to the Eloise to conduct a walkthrough of the hospital. As nightfall approaches, 3 team members are walking down the hallway when they suddenly hear what sounds like footsteps behind them. And then, The team is in disbelief.
Time to go.
It appears a vinyl record was somehow flung at them from the top of a filing cabinet, shattering into pieces at their feet.
Hi, my name is Brandy Miller, and I'm the one that took the video. We kept feeling like somebody was walking behind us when we heard these footsteps. We stopped for a minute, we were talking amongst ourselves, wondering what that was.
It was then that the record was thrown.
In my opinion, with all the years that I've done my work with psychic mediumship, if something has that much energy to break something, I don't want to stick around to see what can happen next.
Time to go. We're going.
But was this spirit trying to hurt them or simply get their attention?
A lot of times people misinterpret things being thrown as like a violent reaction. But in reality, it just takes so much energy for something that doesn't have a physical body to interact with our physical world. So it might come off stronger than they want.
Spirits just want their stories told, and sometimes they want to get your attention. And if the smaller, more subtle methods aren't doing that, sometimes it takes throwing of an object, the breaking of an object. Hey, I'm here, listen to me. Sometimes that works, and sometimes it sends people screaming out of the building.
Okay. Time to go. We're going.
In 7 years of me doing paranormal investigations, this one by far is the most intense I've ever experienced.
Dude, I thought you had nerves of steel, man.
While the paranormal activity at the former mental asylum terrified these investigators, it didn't keep the crew from going back for more.
This is like Christmas.
Quite the opposite.
I've been doing paranormal investigating for over 8 years now, and it's one of the most haunted places we've ever been to. I think because we go in there and try to communicate with the spirits that are there, maybe they were playing with us.
Hello?
Time to go. We're going.
When it comes to truly terrifying jobs, there are a few that come to mind almost immediately. Morgue technician, cemetery security guard, forensic pathologist, vape shop manager. Yes, that's right, vape shop manager. But don't take our word for it. Just ask the manager of this vape shop in Arizona when he comes under attack. In February 2019, Rob Mullinex was working his manager shift at a vape shop in Phoenix, Arizona. It was just another ordinary day. Hours would go by in silence, with the occasional customer popping in, when suddenly...
My name is Robert Mullinex. My mind was absolutely blank at first. I mean, I jumped a little bit, and then it was standing up and looking, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, what was that? First thought in my head is, I'm locking the shop and getting out of here. Like, I don't know what just happened.
But believe it or not, this wasn't the only weird event that Rob experienced during his time at the shop.
I've been working there since the end of January. I'll be honest, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in that shop. It almost feels like someone's with you at all times. I first started noticing it with the random stuff falling off shelves. At first I was like, well, I guess it's possible, but then it turned into like an every week occurrence. I mean, like we do have like door chimes when the door opens, you get the little toot 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 thing, and I've had that go off before without the door opening. So I'm like, well, that's a little strange, you know? You'll get random cold air spurts by you and stuff like that when there's no fans on.
All of this, in addition to the glass counter breaking, made Rob think that there could be something paranormal at work.
There's definitely something going on in there.
There's some kind of spirit activity happening. These are all things you sort of check off your paranormal investigator checklist saying, okay, I've got a cold spot. I've got, these bells going off. Nobody's come through the doors. It happens all the time. Things are falling off the shelves.
Although slightly freaked out, Rob continued to manage the store.
I still went to work normal. I just kind of stayed more cautious to everything, kind of kept my ears open a little more to see if I could hear anything.
And Rob was right to stay on alert, because 3 months later,
I had actually called off work that day because I was sick. And then the guy that covered for me calls me and he's like, I'm done with this shop. And I'm like, why? He's like, you got glass breaking. And I'm like, no, that happened to me. What are you talking about? And then he sent me the video and I was like, oh my God, again this happened? I was completely shocked. I was completely freaked out. Like, what are the odds this happened again? And that put any scientific reason out of my head. I was like, there's no scientific reason this would happen that close of a span in the same exact shop.
Okay, maybe you can accept it once as poorly manufactured, but the fact that it happens again, it just seems too coincidental.
This is more than just something getting knocked off a shelf. This is more than just a light going on and off. This is damage. This seemed targeted to get someone's attention. I mean, the guy is sitting right there, and the display case right in front of him is the one that shatters.
The shattering of glass, the disruption of an orderly space is something normally associated with a poltergeist. Poltergeists screw with your environment. That's their thing. That's what they like to do. So when we see the destruction of property, the disruption of peace, my thought first is poltergeist.
But if this was the work of a poltergeist, why here?
We don't know the history of this place, so if there was something that was haunting this area, it would probably be most likely something that has attached itself to the owner or any of the employees.
And that just might be the case with Rob, because 5 years earlier, he had had a different paranormal experience, also involving glass.
When I lived in Chicago, in the winter, the windows fog up no matter what. I went into my room one day and my name was written in the fog on the window. And I asked my sister who I was living with, I was like, did you write my name on the window? And she swore up and down that she didn't. So there was that, my name disappearing on a window. That was a little crazy.
Spirits can attach themselves to a person for any number of reasons. Perhaps there's some sort of connection with the person while they were living. Perhaps they just simply like the person, or they have some sort of energy that they're drawn to. Maybe they have the energy that allows them to manifest or to do things.
It's entirely possible the fact that maybe he is sensitive to that contact. He is open enough to recognize when something is around, that spirit recognizes that, and they see him and they go, ooh, that guy can probably sense me. I'm gonna make you pay attention to me. And this could be one of those instances.
Rob is keeping himself open and prepared in case it happens again.
I've just always been interested in it, and I've always thought to myself, it's out there. You know, there's too many unexplainable things that don't match up with science at all.
As for the shop, he believes that whatever or whoever it was ultimately did not want to hurt him or any customers. At least for now.
I think if there is something there, it just kind of wants us to know, hey, I'm here and I do have power. Do I see it trying to harm us in any way? No.
In the world of the paranormal, one of the most horrific things that can happen to a person is being possessed by a demonic spirit. And if you think that's a rare occurrence, think again. Demonic possession and the exorcisms that follow, believe it or not, are on the rise. So much so that in 2005, the Vatican set up an exorcism training course to deal with the crisis. For years, one particular hotspot for exorcisms has been the Philippines. In 2006, the Catholic Church became aware of so many cases of possession that they opened an office of exorcism to deal with them. And it's a good thing they did, because 12 years later, a young woman would become possessed by an unknown entity, and her only hope of survival lay quite literally in the hands of an exorcist. In November 2018, in a small town about 97 miles from Manila, a Filipino woman named Pamela is brought to Ka-Oming, a religious healer, because her family believes her behavior indicates possession by an evil spirit. His first step, try to communicate with whatever entity is inside of her.
Anong pakiusap ang gusto kay Pamela? The first thing you need to notice about people that are unwillingly becoming possessed, some of the first signs are very physical signs of possession.
You can't really see her pupils, but her eyes look really, really dark, which is something that happens to people where they get these kind of reptilian-looking eyes where it just gets black.
Ikaw ay nagsalita na kukunin mo ito ay hindi ako napayag, naintindihan mo?
You could see it in the hands. Her hands like grappling hooks. The rest of the body seems quite lackadaisical. Her expression is out there someplace else.
She seems to be in a trance-like state, but I've seen this before. This is common. This is the pre-game, so to say. This is the lead up to the battle.
Anong pakiusap ang gusto kay Pamela?
As Ka-Oming struggles to break through, the entity attempts to seize control of Pamela's body.
Ay nagsalita na kukunin mo ito ay hindi ako napayag, naintindihan mo? Ha?
You can see that the spirit doesn't necessarily know how to operate this body well or naturally, or the person who's in there as well is pushing back against this, and so we get a lot of contorted movements or difficult movements.
Then, Ka-Oming appears to react as the possessing spirit pronounces some barely audible but very disturbing words.
Ha? Gusto mo kunin? Ay hindi ako napayag. Ha? Gagalit ka? Hindi ako napayag.
But there is no reasoning with a demon. Whatever is possessing Pamela is determined to take her completely. Now, the battle begins.
Bakit mo ito kukunin? Gagawin mo Reyna? Ha? Kapag gagawin mo Reyna, hindi mo galamang ito'y mortal. At kung pag kinaya mo ko, bibigay ko sa iyo yan. Kaya mo ko? Ha?
Having thrown out the challenge, the exorcist now uses his hands as powerful spiritual weapons.
Kukuhanin mo ito? Tingnan ito! Kung kaya mo yan!
He pushes deeply into her abdomen.
The things that he's doing in this video are actually pretty typical of the type of exorcisms that happen in the Philippines, where they're basically shouting at the demons to come out of her body.
As he continues, he slaps her. He hits her in certain places to almost maybe shock her or to order the spirit out.
It's a fairly common thing when you see people interacting with the spirit world. When your adversary is invisible, your tools can be invisible as well. So there are a lot of gestures that seem to indicate banishment or cutting or slicing, and it's just the man's hands. He's not using any particularly special tools, and that really indicates that this effort is taking place on another plane.
Having seemingly exhausted whatever demon is in possession of Pamela, the exorcist instructs his assistants to lay her down on the ground. Then,
her body is at attention. Whatever is in it is now aware, okay, I know what you're doing. You're trying to get rid of me, and I'm not gonna make it easy.
finally, a crucial breakthrough. Buenasista is the name of Pamela's recently deceased sister. But the demon could be lying, pretending to be Pamela's sister to trick the exorcist. In any case, it's a breakthrough. Ka-Oming now has the possessing spirit's full attention.
Ay ngayon, gusto mo na umalis?
Umiga ka na! Higa! 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 Alis! Alis! Tapos na.
But was Ka-oming strong enough to force the entity, whether the spirit of Buenasista or not, out of Pamela?
Pamela? Gising? Sino ka? Pamela? Kapag mo?
She's functioning, her eyes are open, she seems to be communicative, so that's an improvement.
Nakakita kayo ng exorcism na paggagamot. Paano ang talagang totoo?
At the end of the exorcism, you see the girl almost snap out of it, as if she is now in control of her faculties. She is now the one in the driver's seat. And you can tell that she's tired. This exorcism has taken a physical toll on her.
Though physically and emotionally exhausted, Pamela seems to finally be free of the possessing spirit. But for how long?
It's an interesting thing that having been possessed once almost makes it more likely to happen. Door has already been opened. You are already a little bit existing in two worlds, and that makes it that much easier for that to happen again.
To stop a relapse from happening, one has to be careful about the things they do, the behaviors they undertake, and just be guarded in a spiritual manner.